Surf Splendor.
I started getting really busy, and then right when I thought I was on top of the world, then boom, the Clark foam thing happened. When Grubby, I'll never forget that day because it came by fax, and I had since moved a few units over from when Skip and I were next to each other. I needed a little bigger one because I wanted to have a glass shop again, and that's where Michael Miller came along. He started working for me, but I remember Skip would come walking over. He'd have his mask down and his headphones around, his ear protection around his neck. Boom, 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 boom. I go and answer the door. Hey, what's up, Skip? Look at, he had that deep voice. Look at this. Clark Foam just shut down. He's showing me Grubby's facts. I'm like, what? And for those that don't really understand what happened, then Clark Foam, they had the monopoly. It's like if you're in the sushi business, I always say, it's like if in the seafood business, like if all the fish in the sea died, we have no access to anything, So we're like, and then I remember going, well, at least I'm educated. This is it. Like, for the first week, you're like, we're done. So. And
you're at the height of, you had just grown your business to a point that.
Yeah, it's growing. I was jamming. I had the glass shop. It was also, I used to shape for Rusty, and then we were glassing Rusties. I was doing all the fin boxes. I was doing so much stuff, man. I was also shaping for Brewer. So I was actually, when I was 20 or 21, 22, I had the North America license for Dick Brewer Surfboards.
Oh my gosh.
So I was doing my label. I had a glass shop, and I was running the Brewer business for North America. I was hustling, man.
No joke.
But then the Clark Foam thing happened. But yeah, the fish was booming, and yeah.
That
was the beginning of the whole the evolution of the alternative movement, of what we see now.
Did you know Gordon Clark at all?
I met him once in Oregon with Jerry Lopez randomly.
Since then, or prior to him shutting down the business?
After.
Yeah. Okay.
After, and yeah.
Did you?
I was pissed.
When you met him, you were pissed?
When the Clark Foam thing happened, I was super pissed.
Of course. So I've heard a bunch of different stories from a bunch of different people about what they think was the reason behind him closing the business.
Mm-hmm.
What's your story?
I'll tell you exactly what it was. I think it's just Howard Hughes megalomania. Like, he was frustrated, and I could see, I knew he was under a couple lawsuits for that, but like at the time, my dad worked in Orange County. He worked heavily with the EPA and also workman's comp specialist and all that stuff. So he's in all the regulatory stuff of Orange County. And when it happened, I was like, oh, he's saying he's getting shut down for this and that and this and that. And my dad's like, I'll look into this. And my dad's like, he's been compliant on everything. There's nothing after. And he had one little lawsuit of an employee dying from cancer that he was dealing with. But I think, I still have the letter that he wrote in my shaping room, but I think that was kind of the incipient times of when the pop-out evolution started with surf tech and all this. I think he was getting really pissed at that because he ran a really tight business. He kept the prices down. There was no competition, but you ordered blanks on Tuesday. You got them the following Tuesday. He never let you order more. If I was on a pace of doing 20 boards a week and all of a sudden I gave him a 40 blank order, the manager at Clark Foam would call me, hey, Chris, what's with this 40 blank order? You never order that many. Oh, I just want to get ahead. No, you do 20 a week. We're going to send you 20 a week. They had it, and you couldn't pay your bill late. And he used gnarly guys that didn't pay their bills and would blacklist them, and then they had to go to Walker Foam. Donald Takayama was one of them. Something happened between him and Gary Linden. I don't know what it is, but Gary Linden could never get a Clark Foam. Once you're blacklisted, you could never get one. And they were such good blanks that you didn't want to fuck with that.
Yeah. Which is actually great, like, to hold people accountable, to hold themselves to a high standard, I think is kind of a good move.
Right.
You know what I mean? Blacklisting them is a little bit cutthroat. But
yeah. But I don't, if you take any industry, this is something I wanted to talk about, is you take any industry, I don't care if it's Whole Foods or organic this or the healthiest of offices or whatever, and for how many, the guy's been in business since the early 60s, and for how many thousands of employees he's had throughout the time, someone's going to die of cancer. Right. So, and this is when people are getting a little more savvy to, and knowledgeable with, environmental things and toxins and this and that. And, a lot of my friends know what I do, and they're like, man, oh, how is it breathing that stuff? Oh, you're going to die young and all that. And I get really pissed when people say that. Like, I take it offensive. Because I feel like I'm put on this place to build surfboards. And for the longest time, I struggle with, there's times like, oh, am I doing something that's really important? I'm just making toys or whatever. But then going back to Phil Becker, I heard when he died, right above his door in his shaping room, he's like, at the end of the day, I'm here to put a smile on an adult person's face. And so that stuck with me. I'm like, here to put I feel surfing is important, and my job is to put a smile on someone's face. And what I wanted to go back to, though, is the health part of our industry. If you take our industry, there's no alarming rates of us.
No, there isn't.
I mean, you go to Moonlight, it's like a scene out of the movie Cocoon. When I sold Moonlight, I had 3 employees in their 80s that look better than any 80-year-old you've seen. They don't wear masks, nothing. They go in there because they love it, not because they need to, and they just want to work. Wayne's 81. He just broke his legs skiing at Big Bear. I mean, the guy would get up early in the morning, go do a bunch of laps at Big Bear on his skis. He'd come in the shop with his ski bib still on his lift ticket dangling. He starts cutting fiberglass, get all his boards laid up, and then he'd go bowling and then come back at 9 o'clock and laminate all night. Like,
insane.
What 80-year-olds can do that?
No, I know.
You know what I mean? So you look at all the guys that, how long they lived and how much longer their chemicals are in that, and it just shows you like how important it is in life to do what you love. You know what I mean? And like have a good lifestyle, because having a shitty lifestyle and not doing what you love, that's what's going to kill you. So
preach, dude. We
can be around all these carcinogens. At the end of the day, I'm careful with the dust. I don't think what we do is horribly wrong, and is it bad for the environment? Like, that's why a lot of my boards, I don't even put logos on them, because, I am sensitive to the environment and stuff, and I want to build stuff that's some stuff maybe be a heirloom, and you pass it on to your grandchildren. It doesn't end in trash, because, all these guys are coming with this, eco-friendly that, tree sap resin, and da-da-da-da, and I'm like, none of that shit I can put in my coffee.
Right.
At the end of the day, like, your 1963 Phil Edwards is probably the most environmentally friendly surfboard there is. It's not going to go in the landfill.
Right.
Build something good that's not going to go in the trash.
Yep. I'm glad to hear you say all that stuff. And from what I remember hearing, that one lawsuit that you're talking about with cancer at Clark Foam, there was like a third-party investigation in it and attributed zero blame to the working conditions.
Yeah, and then Wall Street Journal called bullshit on him too.
That's right.
And there's a front page story in the paper like, how dare you, because he did it right before Christmas. And he's basically, how dare you do this to all your employees, da-da-da-da, and called him out. He's the second largest landowner in Oregon, next to the federal government. I mean, so I was pretty vocal about it. I remember I had one of his nieces or something call me out and kind of threaten me and shit, but I'm like, I'm from Artesia, bring it. I'm not afraid of you.
So how did the conversation go when you finally met him with Jerry in Oregon? Did he have any animosity towards you, or was he even aware of what?
I don't think he knew who I was,
okay.
And once the water settles, I'm a big fan of still waters run deep, and I just shook his hand, and I'm thankful for him too. I mean, he really pioneered our industry. So what he did was a horrible move. I think the dismount was awful. His dismount was awful.
Back to the megalomania aspect that you referenced, just to clarify, you're saying he had gotten so kind of the way that I have heard people talk about it, he felt like the industry needed to be more respectful and reverent of what he had done for building the industry. Mm. So when there is a lawsuit, when there is pop outs, he recognizes that as almost an affront and not enough gratitude to what he had gifted to the surfing world. Yep. And so his response was, F you, I'm out of here, and I'm going to burn it down on my way out. Is that kind of the interpretation?
Yeah, and it's a free world, and I'm all about free market capitalism, and hey, it sounds like a good punk rock ending to a movie, like, I don't know, I don't have that bone in me, but...
Gotcha, okay.
Well, he can do whatever he wants, so yeah. And looking back, I don't blame him. He probably thought, you know what, well, I'll survive, and we did. So,
well, is the market,
and it was a good lesson.
Is the marketplace better now for you as a shaper, that it's a free market and it's not monopolized?
I think so. Yeah. So,
is the foam better?
Is the foam better? I don't even remember. I got a couple Clark foams. I haven't grown into it, but the foam is good now. Yeah. Can't say it's worse or better. The foam is good. There's 3 or 4 major companies that stuck. I mean, at the time, there's so many of them, and God, we were all experiments, man. But it's all just a blip. You know what I mean? I look back, that's business. You know, we're supposed to go through hard times, and everyone. You know, I'm not whining about it today. I think it's actually, looking back, is one of the best things that happened in my career. You know, it makes your skin thicker.
Yeah.
And it is, survival of the fittest.
Good, because
kind of like now.
Yeah.
Surf Splendor.